Hey guys, welcome back to Professional Weekers YouTube channel. Today we are back home and we just got back from our trip to Thailand, and we want to talk about what hotel is the best to stay at in Phuket for 4 different price points. So if you're thinking about visiting the island of Phuket and you want to know where to stay, then you're in the right place. Make sure you stick around, hit that subscribe button, and let's go.
So we did a ton of research in terms of where to stay in Phuket. We wanted to find the best hotel, and we kind of challenged ourselves to find something in virtually every price range, right? Yeah. So we found 4 separate hotels ranging from $100 to over $500 a night. So with that being said, we were pretty surprised at the value, but we're not surprised by the price, because we knew Thailand was going to be pretty affordable. So we have some thoughts.
But we did spend over a month looking at
oh my gosh,
every hotel available in Phuket.
We did.
And that's available online, and we literally looked at all of them. So that's how we managed to settle on only 4.
Yeah, only 4, because I could have probably spent another 6 months just hotel hopping, because there are some really great resorts there. So hopefully this video helps you if you are going to Phuket and making a decision about where to stay.
The 4 hotels that we chose to stay at in the 4 different price points are as follows. The first one, under $100, we stayed at Swati Village. We actually stayed at in one of their suites. Basically it was the North Star suite. It was the top of the line room that they have there. We managed to book that for $99 US a night. That's
like their penthouse.
Right.
Yeah, it's a huge room.
It was great. Number 2 was Thavorn Beach Village, and that was a beach bungalow right on the beach in the sand, and that was fantastic as well, and that was under $200 a night. The 3rd price point that we did was under $400 a night, and this was Pariza Hotel on the cliffs overlooking the ocean. And the 4th hotel that we stayed at was Kimala Resort, and that was a jungle vibe kind of resort up in the mountains, treehouse. That was really spectacular as well, and that came in, I think, just over $500 a night. So that's the top of our budget. You know, I'm sure you can find even better hotels if you got 10 grand to drop on a night, but I think for most normal people, that's kind of that's the limit. That's the limit for us, for sure.
So we had a couple of requirements for our hotel rooms. They either had to have a view of the beach or a private pool. One or the other. If they had both, great, but one or the other. All of our hotel rooms except for Thavorn Beach had a private pool, but Thavorn Beach had the view of the ocean. We were ocean front. The second thing is it had to be kind of private. We didn't necessarily want to be able to see all of our neighbors and things like that. And then the 3rd one was it obviously had to fall within those price categories.
So we have a couple different categories that we're going to judge these on, and we're going to both discuss which one we thought was the best in each category.
So we've been back from Thailand for a little bit, and surprisingly we haven't really talked about what hotel that each of us liked. I think we have different factors, but we have some of those things, and we're going to discuss them live.
So it's going to be a surprise to both you and us.
Yeah. So the first category we're going to discuss is the room itself. So we're just talking about the room that we paid for, the 4 walls and the roof. Like what was encapsulated inside of that room.
Across all the price categories, I think my favorite room was Pariza.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
I loved the view. I loved the private pool there.
The pool was great.
I loved the openness of the bathroom. So the room itself, I thought, was fantastic.
Yeah.
Watching the sunsets at night. So Pariza was in our under $400 price range. It was the 3rd most expensive room that we stayed at, and I think in room that was the one that I enjoyed the most.
Yeah, so the entire bathroom was outside, which is pretty cool. I will say the majority of the room was outdoor, right? I would say it was probably 100 square feet inside, and then everything else was outside. So obviously you had the pool, you had the sauna, you had the massage tables, you had the outdoor commode, all of the water was outside. There wasn't anything on the inside.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was good. That was a nice hotel. I'm actually going to pick Swati Village and the North Star, not because it was the penthouse, because it was kind of like the penthouse.
Right.
I'm convinced that hotel room was bigger than like the first 2 apartments that I've ever had. Like, and I mean that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it might even have been bigger than the first house we rented together. It was huge.
It was massive.
It was massive, and I liked it because everything in that room was just a little bit over the top, right? So for the price and the fact that we had a private pool, right? And it was pretty secluded because it was at the end.
If you really want room to stretch your legs and run around, yeah.
If you're mad at your partner, you can tell them to go sleep downstairs.
Frieza was great. I wouldn't mind living there.
It's Swati. It's Swati Village.
Yeah, Swati.
Yeah,
It was great. And in particular, the pool at Swati was really neat too. So for under $100, it wasn't exactly a full private pool, but what it was a section of the main pool there that actually came up, and you had gates. You could make it semi-private, and then even beyond that, part of it actually came up into the living room, so you could actually enter the pool while you're still in your living room, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, and the part that was in your living room was jetted.
Right.
So it wasn't a hot tub, but it was
would have
like,
been nice if it was hot, because it was pretty cold.
Yeah, it was a little chilly. So next on our list is going to be the resort with the best resort amenities. So I'm talking about like the fitness room. I'm talking about the things to do at the resort itself.
Okay. So you tell me your best resort first.
Yeah. So while I love the options at Swati Village, I loved all the pools, I loved the spa, I loved all that stuff. I really like Thavron Beach because while we have the beachfront cottage, part of it is actually built on a cliff, and so you don't have to hoof it from the bottom to the top. There's actually like this cable car tram situation. But I also love that they had like their own petting zoo, so we got to hang out with like rabbits and piglets and tortoises. That was pretty cool. I enjoyed that. Yeah. And their pool was huge.
Yeah, so actually, I think I have to tend to agree with you. I do think the best amenities was at Thavron Beach, and so Thavron Beach was the one that we stayed at. That was under $200 a night, and we literally had a bungalow in the sand. So yeah, you had the tram. That's kind of a gimmick, really. But you had the beach was right there. So while it was not the best beach for swimming, you could do some other water sports like some kayaking. They had sea scooters, although I'm not sure how you'd get that out there, but you could.
Yeah. It seemed like we were there at low tide every time we went off the beach. It was low tide.
Right. The petting zoo, the botanical garden. So I do think that in terms of like number of amenities and things to kind of stay busy, as well as just the pool was massive. So if you do get tired of being in the ocean, the pool there was huge, and you can spend all day just swimming around the pool for sure. Yeah.
And then next on the list is the hotel with the best view. This
is a tough one because we did have a couple of them. I mean, 3 of the hotels, other than Swati, the other 3 all had spectacular views. Thavron had a beautiful view of the beach, but I think it wasn't quite as private as I would have liked, and there were constantly people walking by, so we had the curtains shut most of the time. I got to give the best view to Priza. Yeah. You had this amazing expanse, this view from the mountainside looking out over the ocean and facing the west, so the sunsets were spectacular. Yeah. And we did not miss a sunset any night that we stayed at Priza, and I would stay there just for the sunsets. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I will say it was either between Kamala, right, and then Priza. I think I'm going to give the edge to Priza only because our view of where we were staying was kind of blocked in terms of what we could see. Right. At Kamala. Yeah, at Kamala. And I think it's that way for most of them. So most of the rooms. So at Kamala, we did not book the most expensive room, but it was the most expensive that we stayed at. Yeah. There was one more tier above that did have a beach view. But we kind of wanted the bigger room, which was the second tier down. Yeah. And so everything else other than the top tier, everything else is basically looking at the jungle and the mountains. Yeah. So I don't think you can go wrong with either one. If you want the jungle vibe, definitely Kamala is the vibe. But if you're looking for cliff, ocean, in your face, right, Prius is definitely where it's at. So our next category is going to be best location. So for us, it meant location it's relative to everybody, right? So for us, we were not necessarily the ones that are maybe looking to go to Bangla Road every night, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, right? But it was important for us to be able to get places quickly and efficiently. So we didn't want to be 45 minutes from the nearest restaurant, right? Okay. So so in terms of location, which one had the best location for you? I think that there are hotels that are right next to Bangla Road, if that's the sort of thing
Yeah.
that you're into. None of the rooms that we stayed at were that close to Bangla Road.
Yeah.
In fact, 3 of them, Thavorn, Prisa, and Kamala, were actually all in the same, I don't know, they call it like a county or city.
Karen.
They were all in Karen,
Yeah.
which was kind of a bit up the mountainside from a little north of Bangla Road. Swati was the next beach south of Bangla Road area. And so actually, that's my favorite. That's my pick for the location. I like Swati. The town that it was in has not recovered yet from COVID. A number of people mentioned that it's probably about 10% of what it used to be. Unfortunately, there were a lot of empty storefronts and things like that, but at least there was something there.
Yeah.
And something, you could walk out, turn left, turn right, and find, something, somewhere to shop, somewhere to eat. You get a massage, all that was right there, versus the other 3, all 3 of them you had to call a taxi and have them come pick you up. And while taxis aren't expensive, it's just extra time both ways. And 2 of those, particularly Prisa and Kamala, you had to call for a golf cart, they call it a buggy. Then you had to get a taxi. Yeah, and so if you reverse that, now there's 4 people involved anytime that you want to go anywhere.
Yeah, I will say that is in my opinion, maybe a downside to the 2 most expensive resorts, right? Because it's not like you can just open your door, call a Bolt, call an Uber, call a taxi, and take a couple steps, head over to the lobby, and then you're done. While it was definitely an experience being driven up a side of a mountain on a golf cart, right, with all of our luggage and bless, definitely an experience. But yeah, it's definitely something that's just an extra step too. Yeah. So I think I actually like Thavorn Beach for that reason, because it was only a 10-minute bus ride, and the resort provided a bus to get to Bangla Road.
So Thavorn of the resorts was actually the closest to Bangla Road, and it did have the shortest bus ride, so it wasn't really too bad.
Yeah.
One thing to kind of keep in mind though, Prisa was probably the worst in that regard.
Yeah.
Because you could not order Food Panda, which is like their Uber Eats kind of thing. They did not allow any kind of outside food to come in, so you're either stuck eating at the resort or taking that 4 taxis back and forth.
We also had a hard time getting taxis to take us back to the resort, or we wanted to
because
come
it
out
was
to
so
Prisa.
far up the mountain, and also so many of the vehicles were so underpowered. Some of them were really struggling to get up the mountainside. And then also too, where we stayed in particular was not at the main entrance, so trying to explain to people that we want to be picked up or dropped off on the side of the road where there was basically nothing was a little challenging as well.
Yeah, so 2 things about that. It's not that Prisa is so far out in the middle of nowhere. It's just it's not as quick to get to and from places.
It's just way up the mountain. You got to curve back and forth. I mean, as the crow flies, it's not far, but it's
correct. It's maybe 2 or 3 miles as the crow flies, but there's a couple of spots where it's a little, the road was washed out. But and then the other piece with that too is that with Prisa, because we wanted the most private option for that, and we asked for the room with the best view, they put us kind of above the resort. So the roads cuts through, right? A busiest road cuts through, right, the resort, and we actually got to take a buggy or a golf cart from the lobby up the mountain to stay at our resort above.
On the road.
Yeah, on the road. Yeah.
With the traffic you're driving.
With the traffic,
and a golf cart that goes 5 miles an hour.
Yeah, so watch our last video where we talked about where you kind of just get in where you fit in Thailand, and let us know what you think about that on that video. So next on our list is something that I value anytime I travel. It's the hotel with the best bed.
Okay.
So I think Swati Village had the best bed. It seemed larger than I think any bed I've ever slept in. I'm convinced it was like 2 California Kings pushed together. It was huge. I rolled over and couldn't touch him.
Big.
It was huge. Super comfy. And I found it to be like extra fluffy. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Swati Village had the best bed. That bed was the size of the state of Wyoming. It was huge. And so I've never seen a bed that big, and I'm not talking about your normal king size bed. This is obviously something custom.
Yeah,
it
custom.
Was massive.
It was definitely meant to hold a lot of people. And we'll just leave it at that. So. I will say the least favorite bed of mine was at Kamala. I did not sleep well when we were at Kamala.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a number of factors there, but
Yeah.
Also too, it was very loud in
Yeah.
Kamala just because it's raining and we're in a tent.
I'll link those videos down below.
Yeah, so
of
the most expensive hotel, it's got a tent roof.
Yeah, it's a tent roof.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, watch that video. I'll put a list up. I'll put a link down below for our full playlist of our luxury on a budget series in Thailand. All right, so our next category is going to be the hotel and the resort with the best pool. So with that, we're going to talk about the main resort pool, and then if we had access to a private pool, right, one that was like just meant for our room.
So, well, I do think the best private pool was probably Kamala. I think the best pool overall was Swati again.
Yeah.
So again, you had a section of it that was private yourself, but those pools were huge. I mean, we talked about the one at Thavern being large. The one at Swati was just as big,
Right.
and they had 3 of them. You know, 2 of them just seemed to go on for miles. It was insane how long they were.
Yeah.
I love the theming and everything that was just going on there around the pool in Swati. So I think Swati had the best pool.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one. It's we wanted something private, right? That, you know, where we could just enjoy it by ourselves. Then we also like the fact that, you know, like Lewis said, it's, you know, 3 huge pools at one resort, which I thought was pretty cool. But shout out to Thavron Beach as well, because even though we didn't have a private pool there, that pool was still pretty cool, right?
Yeah,
I mean, there was probably maybe 30 people in the pool, and I never felt like I was anywhere near anybody.
Yeah, it was massive. I think one knock about Thavern pool though was it needed some maintenance.
Yeah, it needed a little bit of maintenance.
Yeah, there was a couple like tiles and grout that was loose and things like that.
Yeah.
That could be cleaned up.
This time really is going to be the last category before we talk about value. Promise, I know I said that before. But let's talk about the food we can get at the resort. So which resort had the best food at the resort?
All right. I think the best food was Prisa. The Australian Wagyu beef burger.
Oh my God, you were talking about the burger the other day.
I was talking about it. Yeah, I still remember it. I had it 2 days in a row.
Yeah, it was so good. I remember you telling
It was
that.
so delicious.
Yeah.
One of the best burgers I've ever had in my entire life. And maybe that was just because I hadn't had a burger in like a month.
Yeah, maybe.
But it was spectacular. And I think if you go there, get the burger.
Yeah.
And then also, in particular, too, the breakfast, was good. But also, that was the only place we had where we could get breakfast in the pool, which I thought was super unique.
Yeah.
Overall, food, I got to give it to Prisa. You know, I said if any knock against them, prices were relatively high for Thailand. So kind of keep that in mind. But, you know, at least the food is good quality there. You know, so you get what you pay for.
I will say we had dinner at Swati one night. We had breakfast at Thavron Beach. I will say the breakfast at Thavron Beach, probably the most food because it just seemed to keep going and going and going, right?
It did. There was several rooms of food.
I actually am going to pick Kamala for this because everything seemed to be just a little bit more elevated in terms of presentation, but also in terms of texture. Everything was, like I said, everything was locally sourced or grown either on the island or ethically brought in, which I thought was kind of important. Also, everything was really, really tasty too. So I enjoyed that one. They were expensive though. We ordered room service and it was pretty comparable to US prices. So compared to buying, $2 street food versus $25, hotel food.
Right.
Lewis's credit card didn't like that. So in terms of best value, okay, which hotel do you think had the best value? So when we talk about value, we're talking about price, we're talking about amenities, we're talking about location, like the whole shebang.
Right. Yeah. So if you think about it in terms of price, where would I want to stay for a length of time, a week, 10 days, something like that? I think it's got to be Swati. I thought the value there, under $100 a night, what you get is spectacular. The pool, we mentioned the bed, the size of the room, and, the people
Great
were
service.
nice everywhere.
Yeah.
Swati basically means welcome. Yeah, I thought it was spectacular, and the place was just gorgeous too.
Yeah.
There's, absolutely beautiful, and so many different like Instagram spots to hang out, and it completely transforms between daytime and nighttime. So it's a large resort. You can kind of wander easily, because it's all fairly flat. But yeah, if you wander during the day, you'll see things completely different than you do at nighttime, and it kind of reminds me of like Pandora at Walt Disney World in that regard. That it really kind of comes alive and pops, and it's just a completely different vibe at nighttime. So I thought it was spectacular. Overall value, I think Swati is where I would stay for any given good length of time. Yeah,
for sure. So for me, I'm struggling with this one because surprisingly, I really enjoyed the over the topness of Swati Village for the price. I'm gonna pick two. I'm actually torn between Swati Village and Thavron Beach. Thavron because it had the animals. It also was beachfront. And it was pretty quick and affordable to get back to the main parts of the nightlife of Phuket if that's something that you're interested in. But I think for a family, Swati Village is definitely a great place to stay.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm torn between two.
Well, if you're talking about second options, my second choice is Prisa.
Yeah, you did love. Yeah,
I like Prisa a lot.
I'm surprised that I'm saying Swati and Thavron. Yeah. I loved the view of Prisa.
Yeah, I just think the price of Prisa makes it cost prohibitive.
And there's a reason why.
If you've got 2 or 3 nights, you can swing it. I definitely would recommend it. It's super romantic.
It is. So nice.
Exclusive. Private.
Yeah.
So and like I said, the sunsets are
killer,
worth it just for the sunsets. But I think if you're going for a shorter stay, then I would recommend Prisa. If your budget allows. Comment
down below if you think Lewis should take me back to Thailand so we can do this again, because I would go back to Phuket and do another hotel tour for sure. There's more hotels I want to stay at in Phuket, and honestly, in all of Thailand. But
there's plenty more hotels in the rest of the world too. And if you don't agree with our opinion, just remember we're 2 people on the internet.
Yeah, 2 crazy people on the internet.
That's going to do it for us today. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. Let us know in the comments below. Do you agree with our opinion? Which hotel would you rather stay at? I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Tell us about it. Remember to hit that subscribe button. That's super important. And with that being said, we're out of here, and we'll see you next weekend.
Bye.
Bye. Number 1, we had Swati.
Do you want to say number 1 in terms of how we stayed in them?
Okay.
But this is not.
Just go up the price.
Okay. All right. In terms of price. Okay. Cool.
We both said Swati. I know I said Swati. You said Prisa. No, you said
that. No, we both said Thavron Beach for best resort amenities.
No, for location I said Swati.
Yeah, best location Swati. I said Thavron. Yeah. Okay. Kimala. Yeah. Was Kimala less expensive than?
No, it was more.
Okay. All right. So the first what did you call it? It's
category.
Not. Okay. Yes. What did I say? Prisa. So what did you say? You said Swati and I said Swati. That we said the other day.
We can talk about it.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to disagree with you.
Okay. Perfect.